Welcome into America's Retirement Headquarters, home of the Retirement Guys Formula and America's Medicare Associates. Securities offered through Peak Brokerage Services, LLC. Advisory services offered through the Retirement Guys Formula, registered investment advisor. America's Retirement Headquarters, America's Medicare Associates, and the Retirement Guys Formula are separate and independent entities from Peak Brokerage Services, LLC. Welcome into, and thanks so much for joining us here on America's Retirement Headquarters, home of the Retirement Guys Formula and America's Medicare Associates with Nolan Baker. 419-794-3030 is the phone number. That's 419-794-3030 and online, arhq.com. My name is Chris Swan. Today on the show, the Fed now says it's looking at cutting interest rates. The big question, of course, is when. We'll tell you how gray divorce can impact a retirement plan and what's all this we're hearing about a silver tsunami. All this and more, but first, let me check in with the man himself. Nolan, glad to be with you as always. How are you, sir?
It's great. Great to be in the hot seat once again. Happy to be here. Just finished up our hockey season at Anthony Wayne, so just trying to figure out what my wife and I are going to do on weekends since we're not going to be in hockey arenas for a little bit. But nice break. You know, we had a great season. I love watching my son play and had a fun time, but spring will be right around the corner, so looking forward to some nice weather.
That's right. There's always something else along on the horizon, and that's something to look forward to, especially in retirement, because there's going to be numerous things, hopefully, that you have planned that you want to do, new things that you haven't even thought about yet. But you know what? Most of that costs money, and so you have to have a plan, and that is the important thing. Having a plan, being able to go back to it and redraw it as, you know, whatever comes down the line. That is what the team at America's Retirement Headquarters, with their combined decades of experience, can help you with. Once again, that number, 419-794-3030. Of course, it's not just about the income coming in, but it's taking care of taxes, taking care of health care. It's no surprise, actually, the latest estimate when it comes to maintaining health care in retirement, well, it is on the rise once again. New numbers from the EBRI, the Employee Benefit Research Institute, find the typical U.S. couple is going to need as much as $413,000 to cover medical expenses over the course of their retirement, which is an 8% increase from, just a year ago. The number keeps going up every year, and that is probably going to continue. Is this number, when you tell them how much it's going to be on average, is that shocking to clients? And how do you help build healthcare into that financial plan?
Yeah, $413,000. I can remember a couple of years ago, I think when they talked about it, it was roughly $250,000. So healthcare costs, continue to really skyrocket quite a bit. This is a really good topic here. It's talking about how do you build healthcare into a financial plan. It's one of those areas where I think it's so important because of these things overlapping each other, and I think that's one of the unique things that we offer here at America's Retirement Headquarters is not only giving you the financial advice, but having Scott and his team on the healthcare side as well. I met with a couple last week. Dave came into the office and we were going through his financial plan, and one of the things that David mentioned to me is he said, I'd retire now if it wasn't for the health care cost. And, he's before the age 65, before going on Medicare. And at the age of 62, he really would like to retire, but, he was just shocked to learn about what the cost of the affordable health care would be based upon some numbers that he had taken a look at. But what Dave didn't realize is that through some proper financial planning under the Affordable Health Care Act, it is an income, not an asset test. So, based upon the amount of countable income that him and his wife have through like Social Securities or pensions or IRA distributions, that is really what determines his monthly premium. And actually, if Dave just simply moved around and took money from not countable sources, in this case, if he took the withdrawals in the early years from his non-retirement account, that wouldn't be considered countable income. And we were able to show him a way to basically eliminate what his monthly healthcare premiums would be. Now, he could have an out-of-pocket maximum of about $7,500, but that's only if something bad happened. And virtually through financial planning and just knowing how to navigate the landscape, we were able to get his premium to really go down to zero and be able to put him in a position where he can then confidently and comfortably retire. I also met with another couple last week, Dan and Lori. And so one of the concerns that Dan and Lori had is they had experienced in their own family, their parents needing long-term care. and they thought, while we're young and healthy, let's kind of get this checked off the box because, at $10,000 a month, it's no wonder that the average U.S. couple needs as much as $413,000 to cover medical expenses, and that can spiral out of control. In fact, I had another client in last week. His wife was in a long-term care facility for quite a few years, and he added it up. And I think the course of their lifetime, their long-term care policy paid roughly $1.5 million. And had they not had that type of protection, they would have had to write checks out. So Dan and Lori, in their situation, what they did is they used an annuity that, number one, is it provided them reliable income down the road in retirement time. So I think it's important to have plenty of reliable income to cover your minimum monthly income needs. So one kind of checks the box on that. But the other unique feature about the annuity is in the event that they can't perform 2 out of 6 of their activities of daily living, their income doubles in the form of payment to help them reduce and offset some of the costs that could be associated with long-term care. So in a lot of situations, what you want to do is you want to look at how do you leverage your assets to build a protection around your assets in the event for healthcare costs. Also, like in the example of helping Dave retire, how to navigate the system. And that's, absolutely one of the things that we do here. So if you're worried about long-term care in the future, or you're worried about, how do I structure things to get myself in a situation so I can retire before the age 65, and healthcare is on the list, absolutely, let's have a conversation. Let's talk about it. And when you're looking at developing a plan, what you want to do is, first of all, is you want to understand what your current health insurance is. So you got to review your existing health coverage, understand what's included, what's not included, know what those deductibles, those co-payments, co-insurance amounts are. Familiarize yourself with any type of restrictions that you have in your plan. Number 2, make sure that you always have money set aside for an emergency so you can cover some of those maximum out-of-pockets if something big does happen. That way you have that financial safety. Number 3 is budgeting for healthcare costs. So in the example that you mentioned, Chris, if it was $400,000 that you need, make sure that you have one of the buckets of money that's designed to help cover those annual healthcare expenses. And that could be things like the insurance premiums or those deductibles or out-of-pocket expenses. Number 4, a health savings account or a flexible spending account. If eligible, you can contribute to a health savings account, allows you to save money tax-free for qualified medical expenses, or consider participating in a flex spending account, which also can provide some tax advantages for medical expenses. Number 5 is include health insurance premiums into your budget. So when you're looking at what is your income needs in retirement time, make sure that you budget that in. When we develop a financial plan, we'll generally build in about $5,000 a year towards healthcare expenses. And by doing that, it's number 6, allowing you to plan for retirement health cost. And again, understanding when you transition into Medicare, what is covered through Medicare. Are you going to need an advantage plan? What is the deductible? Are you going to get a supplemental plan? What is the cost of the supplemental plan? And then also realizing, what are the things that are not covered? Like, as an example, in most situations, long-term care is not covered in traditional Medicare or an advantage plan. Something that Chaz on the radio talks a lot about is the step number 7 is being proactive and taking those steps to stay healthy. So it's staying involved in the community. It's going to the Y, being involved in healthy choices that you have, and looking at number 8, health and wellness programs that are out there. Number 9 is review and update things annually. So whether it's your Medicare premiums, right now at this time of the year, there's still a couple of weeks left where you get an opportunity, if you made a change to your Medicare, where you could look at making a change to your Medicare plan before you're locked in for the rest of the year. So if you're not sure if you're in the right health insurance, again, another reason why to reach out to our office. Let's look at your health insurance and make sure that you made the right decision for 2024. And the final thing, number 10 here, is to consider long-term care planning. So whether it's veterans benefits, whether it's long-term care insurance, whether it's leveraging life insurance or an annuity, but making those decisions while you're young and healthy can be a great way to help out. And those would be the steps that I would talk to you about on how to help build healthcare into your financial plan.
Because it's one of those things where you are going to encounter, some form of healthcare needs. As we said, the average these days is about $400,000 per couple that is entering into retirement. That is more than likely going to go up in the future. You don't want that to be the reason that your retirement plan falls apart. With a little bit of preventative care, just like with healthcare in general, it can hopefully mitigate the effects of that. And that all starts with sitting down and speaking with the team at America's Retirement Headquarters, 419-794-3030. You can also find out more about the team and schedule a time on the website as well. That is arhq.com. The man who's called the father of the 401k says there's actually one thing missing in the popular retirement savings plan. In the movie The Baby Boomer Dilemma, Ted Benna laments the fact that the 401k doesn't have a component that makes it more like a pension. His answer:
most people who are retiring today, where their retirement savings are 401k and IRAs, should seriously consider committing maybe half or more of that money to a monthly fixed income guaranteed life income annuity. Because managing your investments today to provide a stream of income for 20, 30 years during retirement is a major challenge. And, that's one way that you can at least lock up into some guaranteed fixed income. It's the most secure way.
So we all understand, I think, the importance of putting money away for retirement, but how do we turn that into that money? How much of a 401k should go for that income check, and how do you manage the rest of it?
Yeah, so how you put this together and how you build it all out is the philosophy behind what we call the independent income system. So when you look at the independent income system, and this becomes something that people should really begin to take a look at, in their 50s or, at least within 5 years of retirement time is a good idea to do it. Or if you're already retired, while the market is at an all-time record high, now's a good time to kind of revisit this. So within our process called the independent income system, one of the buckets that we have is what is called reliable income. And the good thing about retiring decades ago is you used to go work at a company, and when you retired, they gave you a paycheck for the rest of your lifetime, which typically would cover most of the minimum monthly income needs that you have today. And obviously, as he pointed out, since the transition has been to go away from pensions to 401ks, what happens is people are subject to the lottery of the return of the stock market, and hope is not a strategy when it comes to retirement time. So what the term that he's talking about is called an annuity, and annuities can be confusing topics, but annuities have been around for hundreds of years, and they've been used to provide income for folks even going back to the Roman times. So they've been around for quite some time. I have an example. Dan and Lori recently came into my office, and Dan is getting closer to retirement time. And when we took a look at his investments, he had the overwhelming majority of his money invested directly into the stock market, which, again, with the market being at all-time record highs, has been great. There's been some significant growth that's happened that's out there. When we did the investment policy statement and we took a look at it, the first thing we identified in his risk profile is he had a risk score that was 75 out of 100. So think of 0 as no risk, all of your money in the bank, and 100 would be like investing in cryptocurrency. 75 is going pretty fast. And, he felt comfortable being kind of aggressive, but knowing that, again, the market's at an all-time record high, knowing the fact of what he needed in the future, we were able to identify what is his minimum monthly income need. So, folks, what you want to do is you want to identify what is your minimum monthly income need. So maybe it's $5,000 a month. Then from that, what you want to do is you want to subtract the amount of money that you're getting from reliable sources. In this case, it could be Social Security. Mm-hmm. You could also, if you have a pension, you could subtract that. So in our example, let's say that he needed $5,000 a month. He was going to get $2,500 from Social Security. That would leave a $2,500 gap. Well, you can go to the insurance companies of America, and we can put this in there and let insurance companies compete for who would give you the best offer to provide that $2,500 a month. And it would tell you what type of deposit you would need to make today to be able to have lifetime income that would provide the income for you, either from a single life, you can get a joint life payout. And in his example, one of the other things that I liked about the contract that we put in place for him is not only did it provide guaranteed lifetime income for him and his wife, but in the event that they had some type of long-term care and they had some type of healthcare crisis come up, the income doubled in the form of payment. So it would help give them some extra money to help them be able to maintain control and independence in the event that they had some chronic or critical illnesses in the future. So that is really, when you're thinking about your 401k and you're talking about, what should I do with an old 401k and how much of it should be in a paycheck, the paycheck you need to have is at least your income needs. The money that's left over is your paycheck. That's your fun money. So that's the money in the stock market. And so when you have great growth in the stock market like last year, then that's the money you use to pay for the cruises and all the fun stuff that you're going to want to do. But don't let your minimum monthly income needs be subject to the lottery of the returns of a 401k and the stock and bond market. Consider options such as what Ted said in the audio clip about getting something that provides lifetime income. That's a good way to set it in place. So, again, if you're listening and you are taking a withdrawal from your retirement account and that money is invested in the stock or bond market, now while the market's at an all-time record high is a good time to give us a call, have a conversation about protecting your income for life. Or if you're not retired and you want to say, well, how do I get ahead of this? And whether you're in your early to mid to late 50s and you want to start planning for this today, that's exactly what we can kind of show you is how to take those steps to have more predictable, reliable income in retirement time. Happy to help show you how to make that happen.
And that phone number is 419-794-3030. Here's the truth of it. You're going to have monthly expenditures in retirement, and those utilities, those groceries, they don't care if the market is down. Those bills are probably going to still remain there. So you want to make sure you've got that taken care of. It's the difference between paychecks and playchecks. You can find out more about that. If you do a quick Google search, look up the independent income system. There's a great video there for you to watch. You can also see how it's going to work for you by setting up a time to speak with the team at America's Retirement Headquarters. Once again, 419-794-3030, or the website is arhq.com. Investors in Silicon Valley say they've come up with an idea to avoid paying taxes forever. How? Well, by creating a permanent floating communities in international waters, which are free from regulation. It is way too early to inquire. They're just talking about it right now, and who knows how much that's actually going to cost. But, you can't help but think, what can we do now to prepare for taxes and mitigate, hopefully, those taxes in the future?
Interesting concept,
Yeah.
Creating a floating community on international waters. I like that concept. So always somebody's, looking for ways to try to keep the government away from your money. And I think that's important. This time of year, as you're getting ready to meet with your CPA or accountant or get your taxes filed, don't be the person that just files your taxes and put it away. In fact, what you want to do is you want to have our office create a 2024 tax roadmap for you. So in the 2024 tax roadmap, what we're going to do is we're going to be able to input your information into our system, and then we're going to go through a tax savers checklist. Within the tax savers checklist, we're going to identify 25 different things to try to keep the government away from your money. The Honorable Learned Hand, the judge, once said, there's two systems of taxation, one for the informed and one for the uninformed. So you could be paying more in taxes than what you're obligated to do, and it's not your constitutional duty to pay one more dollar to the U.S. government than what you have to do. And so using the tax savers checklist and creating your 2024 tax roadmap can be a fantastic way to do that. And if you call our office, 419-794-3030, we'll get that prepared for you. In fact, the first 5 callers, we'll do that complimentary to get your tax savers checklist. Have the to put that together for you. But when you're preparing for taxes in the future, it's fair to say that tax rates most certainly are probably going to go up for everybody. You know, the current administration has thrown around this, we're not going to raise taxes on people making less than $400,000. But is that true? Do we believe what the politicians say? Probably not, right? Read my lips, no more taxes, no new taxes, right? So it's been going on for a long time. And in fact, under the current law, the tax rates are set to change in a few short years. So there's some steps that you can take now to try to reduce that. The other thing that's really unique about this moment in time, 2024, is the fact that our national debt has surpassed $34 trillion and continues to balloon out of control. Now, one way that we could pay off the national debt is we could go to every man, woman, and child, and we can ask them to write a check to the government. And the check to the government, right now, it stands at now the first time it's over $100,000 per person. So even a baby who doesn't pay any taxes yet, or somebody who doesn't pay taxes, they currently owe the federal government, according to usdebtclock.org, $101,832. Or if you wanted to spread out that tax liability to the taxpayers and just say, okay, U.S. taxpayers, you pay the bill. That bill right now is $264,945. Now, we're spending more money on the federal debt to gross domestic product ratio than what we're bringing in. Right now, we're spending 122.7% when you look at debt to GDP ratio. And we haven't done this since the World War. So we're amassing a significant amount of debt. Now, if you want to compound this problem even further, what you can do is you can look at the debt that we have with the unfunded Social Security, Medicare, and other U.S. unfunded liabilities is another $212 trillion that we have. So a massive debt problems that we have right within our country. But again, you know, we could talk and poke fun at the government or political leaders all day long. We can't control what laws they put in place. We can certainly vote, decide who to elect. But at the end of the day, you can control your individual situation. So here's some easy steps on how to get kind of prepared for future taxes. Number one is organize your finances. So keep your financial records well organized, maintain accurate records of income, expenses, and important documents. Number two is understand your tax situation. Be aware of your current tax situation, including your tax bracket, deductions, credits, or other things that you may be eligible for. Number three is you want to maximize your retirement savings contributions. So things like continuing to contribute to a 401k, maybe an IRA or some type of tax advantage retirement plan that can help you in a situation and reduce some of your taxable income now. Number four is using tax efficient investments. So consider investing in things that are more tax efficient to minimize the taxes that you pay on your investment gains. Number five is to take advantage of tax credits and deductions. So staying informed about available tax credits and deductions is going to allow you to ensure to take advantage of all those eligible credits and deductions, reducing your tax liability. Number six is you want to plan for capital gains and losses. So towards the end of the year, you should be meeting or hearing from your financial professional that says, hey, this is how we're going to take steps to either buy or sell different investments based upon a capital gain, loss, gain strategy. Number seven, you want to explore tax advantage savings accounts. So contributing things like a health savings account, maybe a 529 plan for educational expenses. Number eight is consider tax efficient withdrawal strategies. So when you're looking at your retirement accounts and you're deciding, do I take money from the IRA, the Roth IRA, and the non-retirement account, you know, the sequence of how you take those withdrawals out can make a big impact, not only in your tax bracket, but it can impact things on like what you pay for health insurance costs. So these things kind of compound in the savings, and they can also compound on the problems. Number nine is taking advantage and keeping abreast of the tax law changes. You know, generally speaking, I think every year there's certain tax law changes that go into effect. So knowing what those tax law changes are and knowing how to take advantage of those become very important. Number two is review and adjust your withholdings. Number 11 is to consult with a tax professional. And number 12 is to kind of plan for major life events. One of the things one of our YouTube commenters pointed out is the fact of what is called the widower's tax trap, and the fact that, have you thought about the impact of what taxes will be ultimately when one of the spouses passes away? Because you go from a joint filing taxes to single. And now that you're collecting the higher of the two Social Security and living on the same type of income, that can be a major tax impact when that major life event happens. So the bottom line, Chris, is I think, again, people that don't have a strategy in place, let's get one in place. And what we're going to do for you, again, is we're going to do two things. Number one is we're going to create a 2024 tax roadmap for you, showing you kind of how to lay that out. And then we're going to walk you through our 25-point system, the Tax Savers Checklist. And again, the first 5 callers that give our office a call or shoot us an email and ask for that Tax Savers report, we'll do that complimentary. Happy to help out and provide that information to them.
And the number to take advantage of this, 419-794-3030. There are things I think that we hope certainly are going to happen in the future, and there are things that we are pretty positive are going to happen. We hope that our accounts grow over the course of the next 5 years, 10 years, however long it's going to be before you retire. And we also know that money or the tax rates are probably going to have to go up in the future. So would you rather want to consider paying some of the taxes now on a lower nest egg or whatever it may be down the line? I think everyone out there wants to pay as little as possible. And so that starts by having this tax savers checklist done. 419-794-3030. You can also schedule a time online as well on the website, and that is at arhq.com. The Federal Reserve is now deciding when to start cutting interest rates. Fed Chair Jerome Powell has signaled it's not going to be anytime soon. Here is wealth manager Jeff Sika recently on Fox Business.
We were all convinced that we're going to get a rate cut in March. Now we're not. Now it's not going to happen. So as far as when is the recession going to come, if he keeps rates this high for much longer, he will throw us into a recession. If he cuts rates, he could ignite inflation.
Now, the Fed has tried to walk this tightrope for a good number of years now. Do you see the Fed as the deciding factor on which way the economy is going to go?
Well, the Fed certainly does have a pretty big impact on the economy with the decisions that they make. And, we're starting to see some of that really play out in the economy today. I mean, certainly if you look at the real estate market, there's a lot of people that have been pushed out of the real estate market because of where rates are at today. And, when you're looking at it and you're looking at how the Federal Reserve is going to impact the economy, and we can also see the impact just last week when the new inflation numbers came out. They were a little bit higher than I think what people had expected, kind of spooked the market for a day or two because that fear was, they're going to keep, rates a little bit higher longer. What the Federal Reserve does is, first of all, is they are the authority to set the federal funds rate, which is the interest rate at which banks lend each other overnight money. And changes in this rate really influence the broader interest rate environment. So by adjusting the interest rate, the Fed is aiming to control inflation. They also want to stimulate growth or cool down an overheating economy. So lowering interest rates is a way to encourage borrowing and spending, and then raising rates is designed to try to slow the economic activity. Number two is the way that the Fed impacts this is through inflation targeting. So the Federal Reserve has a dual mandate, and that's to achieve the maximum sustainable employment and stable prices. It aims really to try to keep inflation at a target rate, typically around 2%, and the Fed adjusts its monetary policy tools to maintain price stability when supporting economic growth. Number three is open market operations. The Fed conducts open market operations by buying and selling government securities in the open market. And this directly influences the monetary supply in the economy. So when the Fed buys securities, what it's doing is it's injecting money into the system, making it easier for banks to lend and stimulate economic activity. And on the flip end of the scale, when it's selling security, it's reducing the money supply and helping control inflation. Number 4, bank reserves and lending. The Federal Reserve sets reserve requirements. That's going to dictate the amount of money that banks must hold in reserve. And by adjusting some of these, the Fed can influence the amount of money available for lending. They give us forward guidance. So, when they come out and they talk, we get to hear a little bit about what their forward guidance is to communicate their intentions regarding the future monetary policy. That clear communication helps shape some expectations of where they think the interest rates are going to go in the future, and that in turn can and does impact the financial markets as well. So number 6, looking at creating financial stability, the Fed will monitor and address issues related to financial stability. It can use tools to respond to disruptions in the financial market, such as like when we saw COVID or 9/11 or the real estate crash of 2008. Helps to try to prevent systemic risk that could impact a broader economy. Number 7, currency value. The Fed's actions can impact the value of the U.S. dollar, and changes in interest rates and monetary policies can influence the currency exchange rates, affecting international trade and competitiveness. And number 8, the Fed is also responsible for emergency measures. So again, in those times of economic crisis or financial instability, the Fed can implement unconventional monetary policies such as what was referred to as quantitative easing, which was the large-scale asset purchases providing liquidity to financial institutions with the goal to try to stabilize the overall economy. So again, the Fed has a tough job. They're really kind of navigating the landscape. What they're trying to do is they're trying to bring down inflation without crashing the economy. And, the term that's become popular is soft landing. Are we going to have a soft landing? But, historically speaking, is not good for the future, just simply because of the fact that the market is close to or at an all-time high. Now's a good time to really get that independent portfolio analysis put together and have a good understanding as far as what not only the Fed, but what other things could impact the economy and your finances, and what are the steps that you can take to try to reduce and or eliminate those. On the flip end of the scale, when you do that, there's also ways to take advantage of what the Fed has done on impacting the economy. One of the greatest things the Federal Reserve has done for savers, whether you're looking at money market accounts or you're looking at FDIC-insured bank CDs or you're looking at the rates that fixed annuity companies are paying, you've got 20-year record highs. And why not take advantage of getting some of that high interest? So if, the flip end of the scale, if you've got a large balance in your safe money and you're earning less than 5%, you're missing out on the opportunity to make that money work a little bit harder. And again, we can show you a couple examples on how you can do that. So 2 different ways to, apply that to your situation.
Having that independent portfolio analysis done is a good way to start, and using the high interest rates as they stand right now before they go back down, whenever that happens, as an opportunity to maybe set aside some money and take advantage of those interest rates to figure out how it's going to work for you. The team at America's Retirement Headquarters, just a phone call away, 419-794-3030. Now, the earliest that you can claim Social Security benefits is age 62, or you can wait later and effectively get an 8% per year raise up to age 70. Even knowing this, 60% of Americans, nearly 60%, claim theirs before their full retirement age, which is 67 for most people right now, with a third of them actually just collecting those checks right at 62 as soon as possible. Obviously, there's hundreds upon hundreds of ways to claim Social Security and finding that sweet spot. How do you guys help clients calculate when the best time is for them to claim their Social Security benefits?
This is, I think, another area where technology has really helped people make more educated decisions based upon looking at the numbers and rolling them out. So one of the things that we do for folks is we run a Social Security optimization report. So if you're within 5 years of retirement time and you're trying to figure out what could be your best approach on when to draw benefits on Social Security, give our office a call at 419-794-3030. If you're one of the first 5 callers, we'll run a Social Security optimization report for you at no cost and provide you with the printout. And what we can do inside of there is we'll take your actual information on your Social Security statement, or if you've got it online at ssa.gov is where you can get your Social Security report. And we'll take your spouse's information. We can look at things like life expectancy. and we'll run the numbers to help figure out what could be your best approach. Because, in this example, if you have a third of the people that are collecting benefits right at the age 62, the potential negative of that is what they have done is they have effectively agreed to take a lifetime penalty and a reduction in benefits, because when you draw benefits before your full retirement age, you're taking a lifetime penalty. Now, not only are you taking a lifetime penalty, you could be potentially negatively impacting your survivor benefits as well. So you could be hurting your spouse in the long run just by drawing benefits early. I think I asked the question a lot at the workshops and different events that I speak at. I said, why? Why take it at 62? And a lot of people say, well, I need money if I retire, and so it's just natural that they would want to take that money now. The second thing is people oftentimes have heard that Social Security is going broke. I better get it while I can. Mm-hmm. Better get it before it goes broke. But, I'd say look at it at a different way. People do what is called a break-even analysis. And so they say, well, I've got to live into my mid-70s and before I even break even. As a financial advisor, I can't think of a time that anybody's ever come to my office and said, hey, I want to invest money with you, and my goal is to break even. Right? Yeah. So don't look at Social Security as break even. Look at Social Security as you or your spouse, you're probably going to live a lot longer than you thought. The new retirement is people are living a lot longer. So I'm betting on you living a long, long time. And instead of taking a lifetime penalty and drawing your benefits early, you may be better off pulling money out in the earlier years from like your 401k or your other investments, allowing that automatic 8% increase to grow. Another good example is if we go back and we look at the year 2023. The year 2023, the stock and bond market both did pretty poorly. But Social Security got an 8% increase, and those people who didn't draw benefits also got delayed credits by delaying that benefit. So there's some real powerful behind that. The second thing to think about is when you look at withdrawals from a retirement account, so if you take money out of an IRA or a traditional 401k, 100% of that money is taxable, 100%. On the flip end of the scale, only up to 85% of Social Security benefits are taxable. So which is better, 100% in taxes or 85? It's best to pay, obviously, only 85%. So there can be some tax benefits, and 85% of a bigger benefit by waiting later is even more powerful. So when you look at it and you're looking at your personal situations, you do want to factor in some things. You want to factor in, what your financial situation is, what your health is, what your life expectancy is, what are your retirement goals. And the key consideration in making that decision is, number one, is you got to know what your full retirement age is. Your full retirement age is the age at which you actually receive your full Social Security benefit without any reduction. It kind of varies based upon the year that you were born. Most full retirement ages are traditionally 66 or 67. Number two is early retirement. So as Chris, you pointed out, you can choose to collect Social Security as early as 62, but your benefits are going to be permanently reduced if you do so before reaching your full retirement age. Number three is you can do delayed retirement credits. So you could delay claiming Social Security benefits until age 70. And each year that you delay your benefits, you're going to get a substantially higher monthly benefit for the rest of your lifetime. So again, looking at your life expectancy, looking at your financial needs, understanding how it's going to impact your spousal benefits and survivor benefits. You want to know like your employment status, because if you are claiming Social Security early and you're taking it before your full retirement age and you're still working, you can get a substantial penalty if your income is over roughly about $20,000 a year. For every $2 over that, Social Security is going to come and ask for $1 back. And that can be something that turns out to be a shock for people that didn't understand how that can impact them if they draw benefits early. Like I said, you want to look at it from a tax perspective, and then from there, apply it to your individual situation. So we've run hundreds of these Social Security optimization reports. And what it allows you to do is it allows you to, first of all, we can run the analysis that says, what were you originally thinking, right? So what was, before we put the information in here, what was the game plan? The second thing that we can do is we can say, based upon the mathematical formula, this could be the optimal approach based upon the input that we put in there. And then also we can run plan B and C and another couple other analysis. And then really only then will you be able to make the best educated decision on how to get the maximum potential income from Social Security for you in your lifetime. You know, the numbers are pretty sad. Only 6% of women and 4% of men wait until age 70 to start collecting benefits. You're going to have that permanent reduction of benefits of 6.67% per year for claiming benefits, earlier. For example, if you our full retirement age is 67 and you start collecting benefits at the age 65, you're going to have a 13.3 lifetime reduction in benefits. So waiting till age 70 isn't right for everybody. There could be issues on why to draw benefits early, but the Social Security optimization report that our office can put together for you is going to help answer that question for you. So happy to do that, happy to run the analysis and help you make a good decision on when should I collect Social Security.
The people at the Social Security office, they cannot do these sorts of things for you. They cannot run these optimization reports, give you advice on when to claim it. You're there. They're there to help you with the benefits, show you what they're going to be, turn them on. You want to go and do a little bit of legwork beforehand, figure out what's going to work best for you, and make sure that the numbers, we threw out a lot of numbers, I know. Here's the one to keep in mind right now, 419-794-3030. That's how you sit down with the team at America's Retirement Headquarters, have that Social Security optimization report run. Once again, 419-794-3030, or you can go to the website as well, and that is arhq.com. As if there weren't enough streaming options out there, some of the biggest names in sports broadcasting, they're joining together to launch a new sports streaming platform. ESPN, Fox, Warner Brothers, Discovery. They say the new service, name and price still to be determined, will carry games from the NFL, MLB, NHL, NBA, and college sports, which sounds convenient, but let's be honest, no one watches everything for the most part. There are going to be options on the channels that some fans aren't going to find useful or really cater to their interest. 401ks, which typically offer limited investment choices versus an IRA. Would somebody be better suited to having more control over where their money actually goes?
Yeah, when you're looking at it, is it better to have a 401k or IRA or both? There's pros and cons, quite frankly, to anything that you do. First of all, when you look at it, you want to know what your options are. So as you pointed out, some of the 401k options are a little more limited. You can elect to keep your money in the 401k where it's at. If you leave that employment, you could choose to also cash it out. Cashing it out usually is something I typically recommend people don't do because not only would it be fully taxable, then you don't have your retirement dollars anymore. You can roll it over to a new 401k. So if you're going to go get a job at another company, you can transfer your old to your new 401k, or you could roll it over to an IRA, which is an individual retirement account. So within an individual retirement account, then you become the owner of the account. And as the owner of the account, you're going to have a lot more control over what your investment choices are. Really, it becomes kind of the sky's the limits. When you're looking at your 401k, you want to know what are the fees in my 401k. So you want to ask about investment expense ratios, maybe plan provider fees, administrative fees, or any other miscellaneous fees. A lot of the times, people don't necessarily see their fees in their 401k. So it does take a little bit of investigative work inside of the plan to figure out what those are. If you're not sure what you're paying, let us know. We can help you kind of navigate that environment. Find out if there's any fees if you do a rollover. Now, most places really typically don't charge fees. Sometimes companies charge $25 or $50 ultimately when you do a rollover, but it is good information to know. You also have the ability in an IRA to do a Roth conversion. So the IRS doesn't allow you to convert your pre-tax dollars to after-tax Roth contributions. But inside of an IRA, you have the ability where you could do some of those conversions. And people are oftentimes confused and they think that there's a limitation. There's typically no type of limitation to the dollar amount. Now, keep in mind, though, when you do a Roth conversion, that's going to be taxable when you do it in that year. You're going to pay taxes on the money that you converted over. What are the advantages of doing a rollover? You know, there should be a good conversation that's going on about kind of, again, the pros and cons of why you want to do a rollover. Some financial products in an IRA are more expensive than what you would pay in a 401k. And cost is an important factor when you're looking at it. You know, cost isn't the only determination to decide what could be in your best interest, but you need to make sure if it's going to cost more, then what value are you getting more in return from that? I mean, it could be some professional advice. You could be getting income benefits. There could be things that are built inside of there, but you do want to know what you're paying for inside of that. In a 401k, there's usually some type of company match. So if the company is willing to put contributions in, like if you put in 3%, they'll put in 3%. So anytime you can get a company match, it's going to be a good idea to get a company match. Over and above that, you may have better options and choices when it comes to an IRA. So if you have an old 401k, or here's another little known tip and secret that most people don't know, even if you're working and you're over the age 59 and a half, even if you haven't separated service from employment, you very well possibly may be able to take your money in your 401k today, even while you're working, if you're over 59 and a half, move it to a self-directed IRA and get a plan that's much more customized to what you're trying to accomplish. So if you're not sure and you don't know what to do, give our office a call. We'll be happy to help.
And that number is 419-794-3030. Again, 419-794-3030. Or you can go to the website as well, and that is arhq.com. It is estimated that 1 in 10 people getting divorced today is 65 or older, and the costs are steep. A recent study from Bowling Green, I might add, says a man can expect the standard of living to decline by 21% after what is called a gray divorce. A woman's standard of living going to plunge by 45%. Both are going to see their wealth decline by half. So when clients come in saying they plan to divorce, what are some of the most common issues you help them with?
Well, when you look at it, how a divorce hurts your financial plan, those numbers are pretty significant. Again, a man can have his standard of living decline by 21%, and then a woman, their standard of living plunge by 45%, and then both of their net worth gets cut in half. It can be a disaster. Divorce can have a significant and lasting impact on somebody's financial plan. Some of the things that you have to look at is one is legal costs. I mean, that's the process of getting a divorce can be expensive. You get those legal fees, court costs, other related expenses can add up pretty quickly, and that's an immediate impact on those financial resources. The next thing that you have is you're going to have a division of assets. So during the divorce, those assets accumulated during the marriage, such as the home, the retirement accounts, investments, pensions, that's going to be subject to a division, and that can lead to a reduction in somebody's overall wealth and financial resources. Number 3 is alimony and spousal support. So depending upon circumstances and laws in your jurisdiction, you may be required to pay alimony or spousal support to your ex-spouse. This ongoing, obligation is going to be another drain to your cash flow and your budget. In this case, we're talking traditionally about, people closer to retirement time getting divorced. But for younger folks, you also have to take in consideration child support. So if you still have a child support can be mandated by the courts. Another big obligation that's going to take, again, other things that come into play. Number 5 is you have changes in income. So divorce is also going to result in changes to the household income. That's going to be the loss of the spouse's income. Could be a change in employment status, can impact standard of living, financial stability. Tax implications. So now, you're not in a married tax status filing anywhere. So your tax statuses can change based upon how you file, which could impact things like your deductions, your credits, your retirement savings. Again, in this situation, you could lose a big or half of your assets and things that you've accumulated in your lifetime. And that can have a dramatic impact on your ability to be confident to be able to go into retirement time. Insurance costs, looking at following a divorce, you may need to secure your own health or life insurance, other insurance policies. This can create increased cost affecting your monthly budget. Number 9 is it could have a negative impact on your credit score and debt. So the division of debt during divorce is going to impact your credit score. Number 10 is your housing challenges that you have. So if you have to sell your home or move to a different living arrangement, if you look at this environment today, selling your home and moving somewhere else can have a big financial cost, let alone, depending upon where you move, you could have transportation costs, those moving expenses. That could really impact your budget as well. You've got some of the other, maybe non-tangible costs, such as things like number 11, the impact on your children. So if you have children, the financial impact can be significant on them. Expenses related to things like childcare or figuring out their college education, those extracurricular activities, need to be reevaluated and sometimes adjusted. So it's going to impact the kids. And number 12 is, the emotional stress and productivity. So the emotional toll of divorce can impact your ability to focus on work, potentially impacting your career and income earning ability. So all of these things really do kind of add up. And when you're looking at how a divorce hurts your financial plan, it can have a big, big impact.
We've talked on the show about how you guys, the team at America's Retirement Headquarters, they sometimes play the role of counselor when it comes to making sure that the retirees are on the same page, things like that. We're not talking legitimate marriage counseling here. So if this is a decision that you guys ultimately come to, it's not a decision to take lightly, but to know the implications and how it's going to affect the plan. That is, again, the benefit of having a plan to fall back on. And that starts with the phone call. Make sure that whatever comes down the line over the course of your retirement, all the T's remain crossed, all the I's remain dotted. 419-794-3030 is the phone number. The website, always available day and night online at arhq.com. I want to thank you, as we always do, for joining us here on the show, spending some time with us here on America's Retirement Headquarters. Hope you have a great week ahead of you. Stay safe out there. Nolan, grateful for the time as always. And as we wrap up, I want to leave you with the final word.
Yeah, go check out our YouTube channel, arhq.com. Up over 75,000 views. We'd love to have you subscribe, and we'll be back here same time, same channel next week, right here on Toledo's largest talk station, 1370 WSBD.
America's Retirement Headquarters is located at 1700 Woodlands Drive in Maumee, Ohio. You can reach them by calling 419-794-3030 or online at americasretirementheadquarters.com. Exposure to ideas and financial vehicles discussed should not be considered investment advice or recommendation to buy or sell any financial vehicle. Investments can fluctuate and when redeemed may be worth more or less than when originally invested. Nolan Baker is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Please consult with your attorney, accountant, and or tax advisor for advice concerning your particular circumstance. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through Nolan Baker, Ohio Insurance License Number 27787.